So it's basically like you're taking a step in any other sport, only here, for most players, you know, we don't see the feet up off the ground too much.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but that for most players, we're not going to see that. But what we do want to see is we want to see the knee.
Yeah, hop in here, Milo, because I want them to see that from face on.
So what we want to see is we want to see the left knee working out and around this way.
Yeah. And so can you go up to the top of your swing there one more time to have one? So what I would be looking at here is a line kind of on the femur or the leg. And if I were to draw a line on that, that's pretty much straight up and down. And if you do your transition motion, what happens is that line on the leg now is out some amount, right? Go back up top. So let's say this is at 12-ish, and then do that again. You know, that knee might have went out to like between 1 and 2 o'clock, right? So that's that external rotation feel, kneecap more towards the target sensation.
And it really only goes external about to halfway down.
Yeah, kind of the same as like the reflex.
Kind of it's matching with the reflexing. So those two things are happening simultaneous.
All right, guys, so we're back here with Mr. Milo from Golfletics. Thank you for having us here. Appreciate you.
Welcome back.
Gold Canyon, Arizona, Superstition Mountain Golf Club.
Yeah.
As you guys can see in the background, absolutely beautiful, stunning setting. So we really do appreciate you having us after this. It's awesome. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how to start the downswing, lower body in particular. And I think there's really 2 key movements that we're going to talk about to highlight. But before we dive into those, Milo, let's go ahead and look at Analyzer and just check out a couple of good players so you can see what we're going to talk about here before we dive in. Okay, so let's take a look here at how good players start the downswing. Just have Jordan Spieth here at the top. And let's take a look at both of the legs, specifically the flex in the legs. Now, part 1 of what we're going to talk about here is both legs increasing flex to start down. So here he is roughly at the top of the swing. And watch the knees in transition, right? And clearly both of those, let me get those lines out of there. Clearly both legs, the lead leg, left one, and the right one from here, watch the knees. Both legs increasing flex or increasing bend as he's getting lower to the ground. That would be part number 1 we're looking at. Both legs increasing the amount of bend from the top. Example here, got a Justin Thomas with a driver, and let's get him to the top. Now what you're going to see with the lead leg, I'll just draw a line down here roughly at the top. That lead leg is more or less straight up and down, maybe just slightly in. And watch the movement of the leg in transition. So by the time it gets to left arm parallel, it goes from pretty much straight up and down at 12 o'clock and outward, knee towards the target, external rotation from the top. So let's watch that one more time. As the legs are flexing, the lead leg is also working around. And that's a simultaneous motion that's happening really from the top to lead arm parallel. So both knees increasing flex, and that lead leg working around kneecap towards the target is how you want to start the downswing with the lower body. Okay guys, so obviously you saw the 2 key movements there. What would you say the purpose, right? Why, if I'm in here like this, do I want to do any kind of reflexing from the top of the backswing?
Well, there's quite a few purposes, but in order for you to be able to continue to turn, if you can get yourself back square and have flex in your knees, you can continue onward. If you've lost all the flex in your knees early in transition, you're done. You're just left with hands.
That's right. So. Yeah, exactly. We're up in too long. So the general idea here about, hey, how do I start my downswing? I'm going to feel my legs reflexing really for the purpose of being able to pivot, being able to rotate, create speed, et cetera, et cetera. And we want to start with that from the top, right? If I get myself into a position from the top of the backswing, obviously in my setup, right, Milo, my knees are both bent.
Yes.
Right? Roughly over the balls of my feet, let's say as a stock mark. When I make my backswing, my trail leg is going to lose some flex.
Yeah, definitely lose a little flex, and your lead leg gains a little bit of flex.
On the way back.
Yep.
And then as I start down initially, both legs, right, compared to where I am at the top, are going to reflex or bend more.
Exactly.
And I'm going to do that probably, let's say, this reflexing motion, bend my legs more, kind of roughly until about left arm parallel.
Yeah.
Right?
That's about right.
Yeah, just kind of the initial phase of the downswing. And the kneecaps maybe get rebent back over the balls of the feet as a simple stock mark, right?
Yeah.
What I'm looking to avoid here from the top is a no reflexing of the legs arms and hands straight down. What I'm looking to avoid from the top is no reflexing straight up into a straightening motion.
Yes.
Right? So reflexing the legs as I begin down. Let's say I understand that. I saw the video, I saw this video, I buy into it. I want to reflex my legs and pivot and rotate like you do in your swing. How does someone start with that?
Well, like I do anything, slow.
Yeah, good.
So first you take it up to the top and you make some rehearsal swings where you actually just do that. So you practice feeling yourself. I call it unweighting in transition. So you're basically, it's like you're getting ready to jump and you're doing it in your transition.
Would you say I'm, in a general sense, that I'm trying to start my downswing with the reflexing and letting my arms and hands kind of come for the ride, if you will?
Generally, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Generally, you don't need to really feel like you're doing a whole lot. You're not applying a lot of force to the golf club early in transition with your hands.
Right. Right. There's some certain examples, et cetera, but what we're saying here is when I'm starting down, I'm really keying in on the legs reflexing.
Yes.
My arms and hands right now are coming down towards the ground and I'm not feeling them at all.
Yeah.
Right? And so not consciously.
Yeah, for most players, it's going to feel like they're not doing anything as long as the structure was built correctly at the top.
Yeah. And so when I'm doing this, I'm going slow, right? I like what you said before of having a lot of players feeling full swings, but doing it slower, right? And so when I'm doing this, am I going kind of half swing length? Should I start big and go slow?
I actually like full swing length, so you get used to the feeling of how things are going to move in reality. Just doing it really slow.
Gotcha.
So this is hard to do.
Yeah.
I rarely find somebody that can pull it off right away.
Yeah.
But you're making full swings. You've got a 9-iron in your hand, and you're hitting that 9-iron 75 yards with full swing.
So that white flag out there, like 100-ish?
Yeah, it's probably around 100 yards.
So I'm going short of the white flag with a pretty long swing, feeling the reflexing in transition. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a shot. So if I go 150 here, I'm going to give myself credit. So reflexing from the top. And so for those that can't see how far that went.
It went about 130 yards.
Okay, so close, right? Close-ish, 75, 130. And when I'm practicing this, because it's hard for me to know if I did it right if we're not standing here, right?
Yeah, so you need some feedback, you need some video.
Yeah.
You're actually looking to see yourself compressing into the ground. It should be visible.
Good, got it. What I really need to do to feel that is get a couple good rehearsals, maybe see one or two, feel that I'm actually doing it, right?
Yeah.
See that I'm actually doing it and allow myself to exaggerate to the point where I actually get a big enough lowering.
Yeah. For many of you, it's going to feel like there's no way it could be right. You're lowering so far.
Yeah.
And then you'll see, oh, I went down like an inch.
Yeah, it feels like 3 feet and went down an inch or so.
Exactly.
So the reflexing the legs, right, you'll see there, obviously, guys, the players do it, right? That's what's generating the ability to rotate and pivot and power. But that's not the only thing that's involved with the rotation. There's a little bit we want to talk about with the lead leg. Let's dive into that next. Okay, Milo, so part number 2 here has to do with how the lead leg works. So let's talk a little bit about that. How do I start the downswing? Talk about the reflexing. What does the lead leg do?
So it's basically like you're taking a step in any other sport, only here, for most players, you know, we don't see the feet up off the ground too much.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but that for most players, we're not going to see that. But what we do want to see is we want to see the knee.
Yeah, hop in here, Milo, because I want them to see that from face on.
So what we want to see is we want to see the left knee working out and around this way.
Yeah. And so can you go up to the top of your swing there one more time, just a half one? So what I would be looking at here is a line kind of on the femur or the leg. And if I were to draw a line on that, that's pretty much straight up and down. And if you do your transition motion, what happens is that line on the leg now is out some amount, right? Go back up top. So let's say this is at 12-ish, and then do that again. You know, that knee might have went out to like between 1 and 2 o'clock, right? So that's that external rotation feel, kneecap more towards the target sensation.
And it really only goes external about to halfway down.
Yeah, kind of the same as like the reflex.
Kind of it's matching with the reflexing. So those two things are happening simultaneous.
Exactly. So at the same time, let's flip flop spots one more time. At the same time, as I'm doing my reflexing motion up from the top like this, and I'm doing my lowering, and I'm not making a full swing, but my lead leg is actually going out. I'm going from that, let's say, kneecap on the way back, let's just call it towards the ballish, even though it's really already at 1, and my leg is straight up and down. That leg's working around to that 2 o'clock spot. My kneecap is getting closer to the target as I'm reflexing both of my legs. Now, as I'm doing that, my right leg, kind of in simple sense, is kind of staying where it is.
Yeah, it's really, you're not driving off your right leg yet, so your right leg is basically
staying kind of where it's at,
just staying where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's some actual other things going on here, but that right leg is staying where it's at. So as I start the downswing, lower body motion, reflexing the legs, lead leg and kneecap works around as I go. Let me just hit one or two with that feel in here, Milo.
Okay.
So knees are going down, lead leg is working around. Yeah, and that felt really good for me.
That was pretty good.
And, you know, again, there's a lot of different feels. I know we talked a little bit off camera there as we're doing drills, but really what we're looking for, Milo, and to your point, are feels here, right? And there could be a million different feels how to do that. What I'm feeling is definitely my left leg in particular is bending more than normal. I feel my kneecap working past my foot towards the target, right? That's kind of the sensation that I'm getting as I'm doing this, reflexing an external rotation. And there might be 10 different ways to feel that.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So legs reflexing, lead leg going external. Yeah, that one also felt good.
That was pretty pure.
So those would be the two pieces. Now, one little caveat I would say we would add to this, because we're kind of oversimplifying with two pieces. There's more stuff, but one piece that I think is pretty important with this is the tilting or the angles of the pelvis.
Yeah, exactly. So, can I jump in?
Yeah, please do.
So, in the backswing, because of the way our legs have moved, so I'm losing a little bit of the flex in my right leg and gaining a little bit more flex in my left leg as I turn here to the top. That's put my pelvis on an incline.
Yes.
So it's tilted down. Now, in transition, one thing I want to make sure I don't do is I don't want this to tilt up immediately. So I want to feel like, as I start down, that stays low.
Yeah. And I want to make a point, because if you can stay in there for 1 sec, please. If you go up to the top of your swing again, because I think we know this, but I'm not sure everyone gathers this. Can you make the left side of the hip go up right away again? So what happened when he did that, right, is that leg didn't increase flex in transition. That leg went from a bent condition into a straighter position. When that lead leg goes straighter, that hip has nowhere to go but up. So part of it, and I know you know this, part of this, do that again, please. As he does the, do the good version.
The good version?
As he does this, that reflexing and external of that leg puts him in a position to keep that lead side lower as that leg reflexes, right? Yeah. I think that's an important.
And it keeps this left side of my hip inside of my foot, so it's not moving very much laterally when I do that.
Bingo. So let's, I'd love to have you hit balls all day, but I'm gonna hop in here one more time.
Okay.
And with those two pieces together, right, kind of wrapping this up to the top, we're saying reflexing the legs, I said 100 times. The lead leg goes external, the knee out. As a byproduct of that, and as a byproduct of the backswing reflexing the legs, that lead side of the hip should stay lower in early transition, kind of roughly to the same point.
Yeah.
Right? And all this stuff is really happening from the top of the swing to about left arm parallel or halfway down.
Yes.
And it's all happening together, right? Now, by no means do you need to think, let me reflex my legs, let me get my left leg external, let me keep my left side of the pelvis lower, all three of them. You might have one feel, you might have one little piece within that, or you might have all three, right? Whatever gets the pivot and rotation that we want to have there is fine. That's what's happening. As a stock general video, because we can't see every single person swing, we're saying that would give you the best chance to reach potential, create the best pivot, have the best rotation, lead the club face control, right? The whole 9 yards.
Sure. If you look at 99% of the best players I know, they all do that.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Short and sweet and to the point. I got to learn more about that. Milo, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks.